Hey guys, so for this week's video I have a tag for you, and it's a tag that I made up, which at the moment I don't know what I'm going to call it, but the title of the video should have the name of the tag. Yeah, so I have a couple questions that I thought of that would be fun to answer and are book related, of course, and I'm going to answer them. I will list the questions below if you're interested in doing the tag, and let's get started. I have to use my computer so that I can look up the questions. First question is, how do you go about picking a book to read? For me, the way that I pick books is either I'm in a store and I just pick a random book as I'm like just perusing the shelves, then I might pick up a book that sounds interesting, or I go by recommended books, so whether it be from like Barnes & Noble, or now that I watch booktube videos, other booktubers who are recommending books that sound interesting to me, then I might get the book for that. Yeah, things like that. Number 2, do you intentionally pick books because the main character is male or female? I don't think that I intentionally pick books that deal with main characters that are male or female. But I think when it comes to certain genres, I do like reading books that has the main character as a certain sex, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I guess I just enjoy reading certain genres and having the main character being a certain sex for that genre. Like, for instance, obviously a romance novel, I'm going to pick it because it's going to have a female main character, which usually are always females. And let's see, like a YA book, usually I'll pick female main characters, not intentionally. So kind of like those are examples. The next question, do you pick books based on the author's name or sex? So the reason I wrote this question is because of the phenomenon that male readers like to pick authors based on the sex of the author or the perceived sex of the author. So I was just curious to know if you all picked an author based on the sex of the author or because of the name. And for me, I have to say that I don't pick an author based on the name or the sex, but now because I'm more cognizant of the fact that certain writers mask their gender to appeal to more readers, I do pay attention to that more often. I pay attention to like the name of the author, but I don't let that sway me either way in picking the book. Okay, so the next question is, does the book cover determine if you will read it or not? I don't think the book cover has a lot to do with whether or not I'll read it, because I'm more interested in what this book, like the synopsis of the book is. But I think sometimes, yeah, I am sometimes guilty of not picking certain books because the book cover looks a bit cheesy. But if the synopsis of the book is like really compelling, then I kind of like try to get over it. So in general, I don't try to be swayed by the book cover, but sometimes I am and won't get a book sometimes because of the book cover. Okay, next question. That's us. This is like rubbing on my feet. Do you pick books by authors you don't know or ones that are familiar to you? That's a good question. I mentioned before that I am a fan of series. So in that sense, I do like to pick books, and a lot of the times I pick books from the same author because Princess. My camera was moved. I have no idea if I'm in shot. Yeah, so I like to, so because of the series, I lost my train of thought. So because I like the series, I end up picking the authors over and over again to finish it up. But I do like to expand my reading circle, whatever. But I have to say, yeah, I probably do pick a lot of the same authors only because I read a lot of series. Next question. Does the back of the book determine whether you will read the book? So the back of the book, the synopsis, the jacket, whatever it is, whatever part of the book has the synopsis of the book, For me, that's a really big part of how I pick books. So I personally go based on that, whether or not I want to read it. So yes. Next question, do you stop reading a book if you initially don't like it or give it a try again? So if I'm reading a book and I find that I don't like it, I usually try to give it a little bit of time and try to read through a couple pages, at least a chapter. I give the book at least a chapter. And if I don't like it, then I put it down. But I try to revisit the book later on and give it a second try to see if it's that I didn't like it the first time, to see if it's truly that I didn't like it, or if it's just that when I read it the first time, for some reason I didn't like what was going on, or maybe the story was slow. So I give it a try. I don't know, I kind of do both. I don't know. My cat totally knocked my tripod over and she's laying, showing me her belly right now on the floor. So I'm rubbing her with my feet. Okay, next question, is writing style important? And I included this question because I have read a couple books lately within the past couple of months that I'm not exactly a fan of, and some of these books are really highly regarded, and I have a problem with writing style. I know that everyone writes differently, and not everything is for everyone, but writing style, the writing is really important to me when I'm reading a book, and I will more than likely stop reading the book if the writing style is just not something that I like. Yeah. Alright, next. Do you go by book recommendations or bestsellers lists? I'm having like hot flashes in this room. Okay, yeah, so for this one, I think I go by book recommendations. Like I've mentioned before, like if I'm buying online, I buy a lot of my books online, like Barnes & Noble or Amazon or whatever. And now that I'm part of BookTube and I watch more BookTubers, I get a lot of books because of videos that I've seen where people are recommending them, or if I'm looking for a particular book online and they say, you know, suggested titles or whatever, how they have like on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, like other people were buying. So I like to go on that rather than bestsellers list, because I feel like a lot of the things that become bestsellers aren't necessarily things that I would read. Last question, are you a planner or free-for-all book buyer? And this just means, are you the type of person that walks into a bookstore and just buys whatever books you see, you don't go in with a plan, or are you the type of person that goes into a bookstore with a plan to buy certain books? And I have to definitely say that when it comes to like in-store, I'm more of a free-for-all buyer. Sometimes I go in with a plan to get maybe one book or something like that, but for the most part I wander around and just skim through titles and through like sections and just buy books like that. But online I definitely am a planner. I look for books that I know I want, because it can be too overwhelming to look online for books if you don't know what you're looking for. If one of you guys could see my cat right now. Alright, so that's the end of the tag. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I will have the questions down below if you want to do this, and I tag anyone to do this tag. I'm really interested in hearing other people's answers for this, to see kind of how they buy books and how they pick books. Yeah, below I will also link the previous video, the video previous to this one, and all my social media stuff so you can follow me. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time.